Hello my dears, and welcome back to my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon, and today I've got another book talk video to share with you guys. And today we are talking about The Adults by Caroline Hulse. Now, I picked up this book because I had been searching around the local stores for a Christmas book. And there are plenty, but they all seemed to be like those typical cheesy Christmas romances, and I was just in the mood for something a little different. And when I saw the cover of this book, I was like, okay, that's a tree ornament. Let's see what this is about. Read the back, knew it had to do with Christmas, or at the very least was set at Christmas, and it sounded intriguing. So I picked it up and I was not disappointed. So, this book is a bit of a comedy, a little bit. There's some humor there. It's not laugh out loud throughout, but there were, I'd say, 3 or 4 points where I laughed out loud during the reading. But there are a lot of parts that will make you sort of chuckle to yourself. It's also about family, somewhat dysfunctional family that's trying its best to pull it all together. And it's not just a dysfunctional family, it's a dysfunctional blended family. So there's a lot going on, and they're all trying to kind of keep it together for this 7-year-old little girl who is kind of the focal point of this holiday season. So the book starts off with a call to 911 or 999 as the case may be, because this book takes place in England. So it starts off with an emergency call. Someone has been shot with an arrow from a bow and arrow, and the call's very frantic, you know, as it would be, and it ends kind of abruptly. And from there we kind of rewind back in time and we get introduced to all the players in this book. So first there's Matt and Alex. Matt is the dad of the little girl Scarlett, and Alex is his new girlfriend. And they're serious, you know, they live together. They've been together for a while now. And, you know, the holidays are coming up. And Matt says that, well, first Matt tries to brush it off as though like, oh, did I mention to you that I really want to go to this sort of resort that's kind of holiday themed, and there's cabins and like there's Santa, and then there's also activities like archery and dance classes, and there's a spa and things like that. He's like, I want to go there. I want us to go there. I want Claire and Patrick to go there. Now Claire is his ex-wife, the mother of 7-year-old Scarlett, and Patrick is her new boyfriend. So Matt's like, I don't know how this slipped my mind, but yeah, it's all kind of booked and arranged that we're gonna go, and Claire and Patrick are gonna go, and we're gonna spend Christmas with Scarlett at this resort. And Alex is kind of like, that just slipped your mind. You completely forgot to tell me? And he's like, yeah, I thought I told you. I don't know. And she's kind of like, that sounds absolutely awful. But at the same time, she can understand him wanting to spend Christmas with his daughter. So after a little bit of hemming and hawing, when he's like, you know what, we can just cancel, it's fine. She's like, no, I'm not going to be the reason you don't spend Christmas with your daughter. We'll go. From there, the chapters kind of rotate. We get some from Claire's point of view, some from Patrick's point of view, some from Matt, some from Alex, some from Scarlett's. And it's just really interesting as everyone's kind of getting ready to go to the resort. Claire is emailing them about all the things that she's got planned for them to do, the suggested list of things they should pack, which would drive me insane. If I was going on a holiday with someone and they emailed me a list of things they thought I should pack, that'd be too much. But anyway, Alex is being a trooper. She's doing the best she can. She's being very welcoming and very pleasant, you know, as you would, and it's all kind of coming together. And as the chapters go on, we're learning a bit about Claire, Patrick, Matt, and Alex. We're learning a bit about why they divorced, what led up to that. We're learning about how the 2 new couples kind of got together, just things like that. And it's time to head off to the resort. Now, every few chapters, we're given a police interview with the police talking with someone either from their party or someone from the resort who was around at the time of the shooting. And so we're starting to piece together, we're pretty sure that it's Patrick who got shot, so the new boyfriend of Scarlett's mom, and Alex, the new girlfriend of Matt, who did the shooting. So maybe not the two you would think would be the one to come to blows, but apparently it was. So they get up to the resort. It's a very small cabin that they're staying in, all 5 of them. It's just a lot. And they're all trying to make the best of it. We quickly learn that 7-year-old Scarlett also has an imaginary friend, a giant purple rabbit named Posy. Now, Posy, which is, the way it's written is so sweet. We get some conversations between Scarlett and Posy where Posy's kind of vocalizing his concerns about Alex, Matt's new girlfriend. And just the way it's written is so cute and very funny. It's very funny the way Posy and Scarlett communicate. And Posy's telling Scarlett like she needs to watch out for this woman because we learn that Alex is a scientist. And from what Scarlett's 7-year-old mind knows about a scientist, she kind of puts it together that they do testing on animals and scary things like that. And Posy's like, well, I'm a rabbit. What's she gonna do to me? But first of all, that's not the kind of scientist Alex is, and it's just a whole thing. And so Scarlett goes into spending time with Alex with a real chip on her shoulder and not really wanting to give Alex the time of day or anything like that. And so that creates a lot of weird energy, and Alex is really sad because she wants to be friends with Scarlett. So that's all happening. So as all of them are in this cabin, they're trying to get along, but as time is going on, tensions are building. They're in very close quarters. It's just, there's a lot of tension building. And Matt and Patrick are so very different. Matt's a very casual, laid back, you know, makes a lot of jokes kind of guy, where Patrick's a little more serious. And, you know, he's preparing to run or to do an Ironman competition, and it's just, he's very focused on fitness and he's more serious. And so their two personalities just clash. As for Alex and Claire, Claire just seems like the perfect woman, you know. She loves to cook. It relaxes her. No, she doesn't need any help. She's got it all under control. And Alex is just kind of like, why is he even with me when he was married to someone this perfect? And so just tensions just keep building, building, building. Now, throughout the course of the chapters, we learn that Alex has given up drinking. And it's because of, she didn't like the way that she was when she drank too much. So she just decided to cut it out entirely, with the exception of, you know, special occasions or things like that. So anyway, throughout the holidays, everyone's drinking a ton. And then, like I said, the tension is building, and it's building. And eventually, they kind of all reach their tipping point, and Alex decides, screw it, and she starts drinking. And from there, things get real messy because she starts saying all of the things that have been on her mind. She's telling everyone things about each other that maybe she shouldn't be saying, and it's just creating this volcano that's getting ready to erupt. And eventually it does. Everyone gets very upset with everyone. Matt especially gets very upset with Alex and all the things that she said, and he calls her a nasty lush at one point and tells her to go sleep it off. And then the next day, everyone kind of wakes up and they're like, yikes. Now, I'm going to say that if you don't want spoilers now, it's probably the time to click away, because I'm going to get into some of the things that happened towards the end. And I'm going to tell you who ended up being the shooter and why it happened and all of those sort of things. So thank you for watching, number one. Second of all, if you like books that have a little tiny bit of mystery but deal with family issues, blended families, and have some humor in them, I would definitely recommend The Adults. It's a great story. It's well written. This author is one I will definitely be keeping an eye out for in the future. So yes, now that they're gone, we can get into a bit of the spoilers. So by the time the next day comes, they've got some things lined up. And while things went really badly the night before, there's just something about the honesty and the rawness of the night before that makes Scarlett warm up to Alex, because things have just gone really badly for Alex. As far as Scarlett was concerned, not only was Posey, the imaginary rabbit, warning Scarlett against getting close to Alex, there was also an incident where Patrick hit a bird with his car but didn't quite kill it, and so Alex puts it out of its misery as a sort of mercy. But from a distance, Scarlett sees that, and that just drives home the fact that Alex is to not be trusted because she's terrifying. So yeah, but the next day there's a few different things that happen that just continues to warm Scarlett up to Alex, which is so good. But one is there's a spider in the house and Alex catches it and she just cups it in her hands and puts it outside. And so Scarlett's very impressed by the fact that she didn't kill the spider for no reason. So while things are very awkward from the night before, because during the night when Alex was drinking and spilling all the tea on everyone, Patrick gets it in his head that Matt wants Claire back and that Claire's leaving him and going back to Matt. And it's just this whole big mess. And so the next day they're trying to get it all sorted out, and they go to the archery to shoot bow and arrows. And some people know more than others on how that works. And so at this point, Alex and Scarlett are going to get ice cream because they're sort of bonding, and Alex wants to keep that bonding going. So the other three adults, Matt, Claire, and Patrick, go to the archery. And so while they're there, they just start arguing, and the arguing is building and building and building, and then eventually we get to the point where all three of them are pointing their arrows at each other. And Patrick's saying, "I'm going to shoot Matt because you're leaving me for Matt." And she's like, "Well, I'm leaving you, but it has nothing to do with Matt. It has to do with you." And he's like, "Well, I'm going to shoot him." And she's like, "No, you're not going to shoot him." And then she keeps saying, "Matt, you do it to him first before he can get you." And Matt's like, "Excuse me, you also have a bow and arrow. Why don't you do it?" So Patrick goes to haul back, and he's going to shoot Matt, and Claire stops him before he can do it. She just gets him in the shoulder. He falls over. Eventually, as Alex is coming toward the archery, she can see the three of them are in the middle of something, so she kind of turns around real fast, takes Scarlett to a dance class, and then she goes back, and then she's trying to piece together what happened. And at first, Matt and Claire are both tight-lipped. Like, Patrick's on the ground, he's unconscious at this point. But Claire and Matt are kind of tight-lipped, like, you know, neither of them wants to rat the other out. Eventually, Alex is like, "You have to tell me which one of you it was." And so finally, you know, she pieces it together that it was Claire. And she's like, "Okay, listen, you're going to prison. You can't shoot your boyfriend with an arrow. That looks very guilty." And then, especially because too, she learns that Claire has like experience with using a bow and arrow. So she's like, "That's just, you can't do that. You're gonna get in big trouble." And so Matt's like, "Well, we can't let her go to jail. Like, think of Scarlett. She needs her mother." And he's like, "It was in self-defense." And so they're all trying to figure it out. So Matt's like, "I'll say it was me." And then Alex is like, "Well, no, that's no better. Like, the jealous ex-husband, that's not gonna work." So eventually they come up with Alex saying it was her, because she's the one with the zero bow and arrow experience. So she'll say that Patrick was teaching her and she accidentally shot him. So Patrick's on the ground unconscious. Claire's like, "What if he's not going to go along with that?" So they all get their story straight as the police are talking to them all. And then once Patrick wakes up, Claire makes sure that she's the first person to talk to him so she can fill him in on the story. And at this point, she's just crossing her fingers that he'll go along with it and that he's not super mad at her and wants to punish her. But he's a dad of his own. Like, he's got 2 teenage kids, so he knows. Like, it's just, it's a lot. And telling it to you, it might sound a bit over the top, but in the book, it just works so well. It's a slow build to this really just wild conclusion, and I loved it. I loved it. It was fun. It was fast-paced. It never dragged. I was just constantly flipping the pages to see who did what and why. And so, yeah, it was Claire who shot Patrick, but Alex who took the blame for it, and they were able to orchestrate it well enough that everyone believed, because what would be her motive to shoot him with an arrow on purpose? So eventually, the police were a little suspicious at first, especially too because he had some cuts on his face, but that was from when he went on a run the day before. A branch hit him in the face and then he fell while he was running. So while he was unconscious, the police were like, okay, he shot with an arrow, but he's also battered and bruised on his face. So once he woke up, he explained to them what had happened with that, and then he went along with the Alex did it story, even though she didn't, but hers would be her doing it would have been the easiest to explain. And then as well, towards the end, Scarlett's imaginary friend Posey goes away, because at one point earlier on we learned that she had kind of created him out of necessity when her parents were divorcing, and now that things were good and feeling better, she was able to let go of him. And it's quite the sweet little chapter when she does. She ceremoniously says goodbye and watches him fly off on a unicorn into the sky. He tells her that he's headed to China because that's where he's from, because this imaginary friend is based on an actual little rabbit she had had but lost, and he had a tag on him that said made in China, so that stuck in her head, and so in her mind that's where he was from. And it's just a sweet chapter, and the symbolism of it is nice, and you know, Scarlett's gonna be just fine. So yes, I would definitely recommend this. Great story, fun, Christmas based. I love a good Christmas story that isn't just a big pile of cheese. And this definitely isn't. There's none of that to be found here. So love it, would recommend. If you've read it, let me know in the comments down below. If not, just let me know your thoughts. And I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you guys tomorrow with day 22 of Vlogmas. Bye guys.